What's happening to our auto workers is an absolute disgrace. Now, I know what you're thinking. Doesn't he use the word disgrace all the time? Let's see. Shall we? This is going to be good. I have something to attach. Hold on. God damn it. I have to, and 1 second. One second, I have to. God damn it. Hold on. This is so aggravating. 1 second. Momentary. Talk amongst yourselves. Make sure that's not on start. Okay. There we go. Excellent. Cool. Close. There we go. Going to here. Excellent. Hold on. God damn it. Quit. You weirdo. Oh, for fuck's sake. Log in, you cuntje. Alright, hold on. Alright, I'll just do it with this. I hate this stuff. 1 second. There you go. Okay. Cool. Alright, this a little bit. Alright, now. So stupid. Alright. Now I can show the article when I want to show it to you. All right, here we go.
What for auto workers is an absolute disgrace and an
Oh, terrible. Our auto workers is terrible.
outrage beyond belief.
It's an outrage beyond belief.
Auto workers are getting totally ripped off by crooked Joe Biden and also their horrendous leadership.
Oh, it's terrible. They're getting ripped off by Biden and horrendous leadership.
Because these people are allowing our country to do these electric vehicles that very few people want.
No, you got to make more of them so the price comes down, and never mind.
So you'll ultimately be forced to drive in a car that goes for an hour, and then you have to have it recharged. I hope you don't want to go very far away. Biden has imposed the
yeah. By the time we're at net zero in 2030, electric cars are going to go backwards in their charge. I mean, this is gibberish, but here we go.
This requirement that 67% of all new vehicles must be electric in less than 10 years. That means Michigan and places that make cars, you can forget about it. You better get your union working because you can forget about it. Those cars are all going to be made in China.
Well, no, actually, because of the technology and the chips that were going to be required in the more advanced cars, they can't even be sent to China.
UAW president himself, one auto company CEO, used the word brutality over 40 times in a single conversation to describe Joe Biden. I call him Crooked Joe because he's the most corrupt president in history. He's also the most incompetent.
He's also president. Fuck.
But Joe Biden's cruel and foolish. But Joe Biden's
by the way,
cruel
this video,
and foolish.
Shut the fuck. Hold on. Shut the fuck up. This video is the longest one that I see on here. It's 5 minutes long.
This policy is, your union heads know it, but the union bosses don't want to do anything about it because they're not leaders. But you know who's voting for me? The people in the union.
Yeah, no, they aren't. And by the way, real quick, let me show you something real quick. I don't know if he's relating to this news or they just decided to crank this out, but there is the Sean Fain from the United Auto Workers wants a 46% raise, 32-hour work week, so they take a whole fucking day off in war against Detroit car makers. The days of settling for less contracts are over. Sean Fain, president of the UAW union, since March has declared war on Detroit 3 automakers with contract demands that even he calls audacious, including proposal for a 46% raise, a return to traditional pensions, and a 32-hour work week. Now the 54-year-old who began working as an electrician at Chrysler casting plant in 1994 is threatening to take his 150,000 UAW members out on strike if he doesn't have contracts with GM, Ford, and Stellantis NV, maker of Jeep and Chrysler, by September 14th deadline. Could strike against all three simultaneously, something it has never done. The deadline is the deadline, Fain said in an interview earlier this month at the UAW's Solidarity House headquarters along the Detroit River. Fain, whose demeanor leans more Sunday school teacher than fire-breathing union boss, has brought back a tough-talking style evoking the labor movement's roots in America. It's part of a new generation of leaders, That doesn't matter, okay. These aggressive labor leaders want to rewrite the social compact with everyday workers around a simple question: why not us? The pandemic and technology allowed more salaried staffers than ever to work from home. Now service and factory workers who face COVID's dangers on the job want to improve their work-life balance too. And with inflation eating at everyone's pocketbooks, polls show there's growing support for the labor movement. This is why when you hear them saying we need to get rid of Joe Biden right fucking now, that's why. Because there's too much support for unions in the White House, and environmentally and financially it's starting to benefit too many Americans. And if by the time, and people are already starting to wake up, the time scale that Biden is on, he's very smart. By the time a lot of this stuff hits, as much as there's been a lag because of the Ukraine war, the infrastructure jobs that came from that bill are starting to go online now, and a year of that work is going to put money in people's pockets next year, to where they have leftover money they can go on a vacation, and they're going to start recognizing the benefits of functional leadership in the White House. And that's why they're freaking out. They need to head it off and go, see, since we got rid of him, it's already better, right? Don't you feel better already? Don't you have more money magically in your account that came from his policies? All right. Fain won a narrow victory of less than 1% by positioning himself as a reformer, out to overhaul a union rocked by a corruption scandal. 13 UAW officials were convicted of illegally using union dues to finance lavish lifestyles. When the scandal first came to light, Fain said it was a gut punch, but he had suspicions because the union leadership delivered weak contracts in times of prosperity. We have a horrible history in this union of setting expectations low and settling lower. Those days are over. Now it's payback. Mary Barra made $200 million in the last 9 years, referring to the GM's chief executive officer. Company finally confirmed this. Our wages went backwards. There's something wrong here. Beyond big rates and shorter work week, the UAW's demands include restoring cost of living increases, an end to a tiered system that pays new workers less, restoring retiree health care, and boosting pension payments. The automakers countered that meeting those demands would threaten a strike. The automakers countered that meeting those demands would threaten their existence, driving up labor costs $80 billion, increasing total pay and benefit expenses to more than $150 an hour, up from $64 now. And again, the building a car for $64 an hour when jobs, quite frankly, at fast food restaurants are approaching 22 for managerial jobs and the like, which, by the way, are hard, sweaty work, close to boiling fat and heated grills and that kind of shit, and dealing with humanity on the regular that can sometimes not behave themselves, let's just say, is absolutely worth it. And you could argue more. But if you're building a car, you're a technician, building something that people are going to sit in while they drive 60 miles an hour, and their family's safety and their life depends on it. That means there's a quality of work expected, and that should be rewarded. That's my own personal opinion. Will it be $150 an hour? Will they break it 80 and they'll contribute and they'll gain probably the biggest gain that they've had in forever because of these negotiating tactics? I think so. But the idea that this dickhead thinks that Biden is attacking unions is just bizarre.
Yeah, the heads and the Crooked Joe keep using the phrase fair transition. There's no fair transition. First of all, people don't want the electric car. And the ones that want it should...
Also, is that the phrase they keep using? Fair transition?
Get it. We want to have all forms of transportation and all forms of motorization.
We want to have wind up. If you want to pull start, we need to bring back the Model T. If you want to hand crank your car and wind it up like one of those monkeys with the cymbals, you should have that ability. And car makers should be forced to make them.
Describe this unnecessary forced transition to electric vehicles. But there's no...
Well, the U.S. taxpayer subsidizes gasoline. I mean, look at the price of gas in the UK versus here, or in France versus here, and how they sell it by the liter, and how much more expensive it is. It's because they don't. First of all, bulk being what it is, or production being what it is, they have to buy what they have to buy. But they don't use, they use a kind of a balanced amount compared to what we use in terms of the efficiency of their cars, certainly. But they don't subsidize the gas, and they didn't subsidize the entire substructure of all the gas stations across the country, and allow tons of tax write-offs for it because you want to keep America moving. That was the decision, and it wasn't a bad decision. It was a smart decision at the time, and it's just like it's a smart decision to transfer. Sorry, somebody was saying in the chat room. 1 second, I want to read that because it's cool. Old man Ray. That transitioning, the government subsidizing the transition is also valuable, and that's exactly what it'll do. Yeah. So, anyways, my mom made $6 an hour back in 1949, right out of high school. That is to say, $74 an hour today. Yeah, as far as buying power, she also didn't have access to the kind of stuff either. So there's this kind of, and the level of investment that people at that time had. It was, food in, food out, essentially. Like what you had, there were no personal computers where you could build an entire industry on your desk at home the way you can today. You literally could run an industry from your house today in a way that was impossible back then. So even then, even now, if you want to market for inflation, you're still getting more bang for your buck, even compared to then. So, it's like one of those things like $5 for a cup of coffee now. It was It was 5 cents for a cup of coffee when I was a kid. Yeah, but are you really? It's a fucking milkshake. You're not paying for a goddamn cup of coffee. You're paying for a milkshake. Get a shot of espresso, pour it in some water, and tell me what it costs. Probably $1.25.
Such a transition that destroys over 100,000 auto manufacturing jobs. It'll be much more than that.
Why? Why are they no longer autos, or is it because combustion engines are too complicated? Does he just think? And I think this might be part of this. Honest to God, I think this motherfucker thinks that auto workers are just too dumb to make electric cars. That he thinks electric cars are going to be in plants like laptop plants, and the kind of people that make cars in his head are grease monkeys, right? So, in all seriousness, I genuinely think he just thinks, when he hears these stories, he thinks auto workers are dumb, and that they look like auto workers from the fucking 30s. Like they're all the guys who got fired in the plant from in Slapshot.
Billions of dollars that should be going to the workers, and makes new cars entirely unaffordable for the middle class. That's a transition to hell. You're going to hell.
Yeah, electric hell, which sounds like a Wasp album. You're going to... Jesus Christ, what an asshole. You're going to hell. You're going to hell, okay?
Billions that should be going to the workers, and makes new cars entirely unaffordable for the middle class. That's a transition to hell. You're going to hell. And your bosses are leading you right down the tubes. You shouldn't pay your fees. They get these big fees from all of their workers.
What? What? Do they? What fees? What? Oh my God. This is hell. Yeah, these videos are hell. What? What the? What? What are you talking about? What is that? Run that by me again, because I don't even know what the fuck he said. Yes, you got to fight back against big fees, right?
Waste tens of billions of dollars that should be going to the workers.
What do you think it fucking goes, dummy? Tens of billions of dollars? What do you think they get a cut of the oil rev now, you fucking idiot?
And make it entirely unaffordable for the middle class. That's a transition to hell. You're going to hell. And your bosses are leading you right down the tubes. You shouldn't pay your fees. They get these big fees from all of their workers. And it does.
I don't know. What is that? That's fuck that. That is straight up nonsense. That is in, like, he mishears some things. Does he mean union dues? I swear to God. If Biden said this, he didn't say like his boss, it maybe means union bosses, but hold on. Listen to it again. He's just all over the fucking map.
For the middle class, that's a transition to hell. You're going to hell. And your bosses are leading you right down the tubes. You shouldn't pay your fees. They get these big fees from all of their workers. And it doesn't matter how bad they are, they'll endorse a Democrat, even though the Democrat's selling you down the tubes.
The tubes. Well, I mean, they don't have to sell you down the tubes. You're already going down the tubes. America's going down the tubes, and union workers are coming with us because we rise and fall together. Fees. Yeah, he means union dues. And when he says bosses, he means union bosses, but they're not. The union bosses aren't your boss. And that, like, he can't even get the fucking vernacular right because he's never had a boss because he worked for his fucking dad.
W bosses and the big three auto executives should be screaming at the top of their lungs. They should be ashamed of themselves.
What should they be screaming? They should be. I'm so ashamed. What are they? What?
Biden cancel his brutal electric vehicle mandate before it destroys the entire U.S. auto sector.
There is no electric car mandate. What? Hold on. The only one that I know of is buying and selling cars in California. I mean, a Target is one thing. Yeah, this is its general confusion on his part, which is not shocking at all. But I don't know if this is what he's talking about, but it kind of feels like it because this is how fucking stupid that they think that having a Target and funding it through private and public sector investments, like contracting that there are enough electric charging stations across the country so you could drive across, without having to stop for very long. And even if you do, you can have a nice meal in a lovely little town. This is your town. Yeah, as a part of the, I don't know where the 67% thing came from, but as a part of President Biden's goal of having 50% of all new vehicle sales be electric by 2030, 50%. They're going to be. We're honest to God, I think their target is like, it looks like by the markets depending on the volume, 42%. And they're like, well, let's try and get it to 50. How do we get it to 50 so we can half and half this stuff? Because it'll definitely get us off the, well, if you want to get to oil and, energy dominance, this is how you do it. You get all the commuter cars off fucking oil. Hey. White House announcing public and private commitments to support America's historic transition to electric vehicles under the EV Acceleration Challenge. It is a challenge, not a mandate. These commitments are part of President Biden's Investing in America agenda to spur domestic manufacturing, strengthen supply chains, boost U.S. competitiveness, create good-paying jobs. Because of President Biden's leadership and historic investments, electric vehicles sales have tripled, and the number of publicly available charging ports has grown by over 40% since he took office. This is old, by the way. There are, 1,500 charging stations in the last 500 days. I want to say if that was the number, I might be burping that. I might be inverted. But it's still like, it's the last 500 days. Highway 50 has just been peppered with charging stations, and it's great. There are now more than 3 million EVs on the road and over 135,000 public EV chargers across the country. Biden's Inflation Reduction Act adds and expands tax credits for purchases of new... so it's a federal... Again, these motherfuckers... This is all about his Trump's issue, I think, with consent. He doesn't get the difference between challenging someone or encouraging someone and force. Because to him, there's only power in force of will, and I guess anybody who's trying to encourage you to do something he doesn't want you to do, they're forcing you to do it. But anytime he's forcing you to do something, it's because you're too stupid to know better. So he has to force you, because you don't know that he's fuckable.
Union bosses and the CEOs refuse to fight back against crooked Joe Biden by forcing him to repeal this disastrous electric car scheme.
The disastrous electric car scheme. And I was just talking to Elon Musk the other day, and he's totally against it. I just wanted you to...
They know they're not pro-worker. They're not on your side. They've got some deals going for themselves.
Yeah, big lithium.
And I'm telling you, you shouldn't pay those dues. You should not pay your dues because they're selling you to hell. You're going to be...
They're selling you to hell. Selling you down the river. You're going to hell. Fuck it. Put them together. Cut them up. They're selling you to hell, and they're not even getting a good price for you. If I sold you to hell, I could get top dollar.
Don't have any jobs. All those cars are going to be made in China.
No, those cars are not made in China. Now, Elon Musk is making a bunch of Teslas in China, or at least he was, until he realized they were stealing his technology. He tried to push back just a teensy bit, and suddenly his numbers go down, and people are egging and throwing rocks at Teslas when they see him.
You can forget it, Michigan. You can forget it, South Carolina. You can forget it, everybody.
You forget it, everybody. No more cars in America. Too complicated. Grease monkeys can't make these space-age vehicles. Forget it. You're too stupid.
They're going to be made in China.
No. They're not. Why would they be? The labor costs are cheaper in Mexico. Check out the USMCA if you don't fucking believe me. I'm dead serious. If they were going to move a fucking factory to anybody, they would fucking move it to Mexico.
Liquid gold, and we're getting rid of combustion engines. And
yeah, we're getting rid of them by 50%. We hope by in 7 years in over the course of this decade.
They're going to make all those cars. We're not going to make any of them.
Why? Oh, right, because Americans are fucking stupid, and UAW workers don't know how to put together one of these smart cars.
So, I stand in total solidarity with you in your fight against Joe Biden's job.
Solidarity, this is solidarity. I heard solidarity a lot with Lech Walesa. I'm the Lech Walesa of combustion engines.
Green New Deal insanity. It's insanity.
It is insanity.
When I am your president, I will deliver higher wages for auto workers. I will protect your jobs. I will end Joe Biden's catastrophic electric vehicle mandate. And by the way, if you want an electric car, you're going to get it.
You're going to get it. You just won't be forced by Joe Biden to buy one with a gun to your head, forcing you to be one of the 50% of people who buy a new car starting in 2030 that would be nice if you... It's a terrible gun. It's rubber, but...
To get all other types of cars.
That's right. Some that, I love the ones that are biodiesel that run because they smell like French fries, chugging down the street. If you want it, the Cheech and Chong van, which runs on the marijuana.
Vehicles that you want. And on day one, you're going to be back in business with me, and those factories are going to start opening up again. Remember, when I got elected...
They're not closed, fuckhead. The union is striking. They're talking about striking. Overworked You dumb son of a bitch. They're fucking hell. You can't get a raise at a closed factory, you dipshit. They don't. What the fuck is wrong with you? You're overworked at a factory that, quite frankly, is gone forever, doesn't exist, no more, can't be. So sad, too bad, bye-bye.
I talked about this in the campaign.
Nope.
And when I got elected, hardly a car company built outside of this country.
Hardly a car company built outside of this country. Wait, okay. No, I don't understand. I don't understand.
When I got elected, I told you all about this in the campaign. And when I got elected, hardly a car company built outside of this country. I stopped it.
Hardly a car company built outside of this country. I stopped it. So you started car companies building outside the U.S. And you think that's worth bragging about? You do realize you're saying the opposite of what you think you're saying.
It didn't go anymore. I said if you go to Mexico, I'm putting a big tariff. You'll make a car, you can have a 25% tariff if you send that car back into the United States.
Okay, bullshit. No, he didn't. He said he used that as leverage to get his 28,000 soldiers for free and the fucking wall and blah, blah, blah.
Well, right now they're doing ever before. We lost.
You signed the USMCA, motherfucker. That's what made this possible.
32% of our industry to Mexico prior to my getting there. And we lost.
Getting to Mexico?
Almost nothing. Nothing. In fact, we were taking back our industry.
No, you weren't. And we lost hundreds of thousands of American lives while you said Xi Jinping was doing a very professional job with COVID. Does that count?
Going again.
I got the Carrier plant, Foxconn, look them up. I mean, I created entire new boom towns around the promise of factories that didn't actually happen. I don't know why everybody's pissed, because they liked hope when Obama gave it to you, but I give you hope and it doesn't pay off and you're mad. I don't get it.
Great. You have to vote for Trump. You have to vote for Trump. You can't listen to these union guys that get paid a lot of money and they get wined and dined in Washington. They know that electric in terms of our workers.
Why? I'm dead serious. Why? Make your fucking case. But what the fuck? Honest to God, the only reason I think he thinks this is because he thinks that this is like, the reason they're going to be built in America is because they're like computers, and that's how he thinks about them. Dude can't even fucking drive a car to start with. But he thinks they have to be made in like a computer factory, like in a clean room, and therefore our people are still fucking, they're just too fucking dumb to do this. I don't see any other point that he's making, except that the UAW grease monkeys, like he pictures them with a wrench and like smudges of oil on their face.